Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my White Forest Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile for Post-Supreme Darkness. We got some new support for the White Forest Synchro deck in the latest Yu-Gi-Oh! Booster set, a deck that can work very well with the Bellstar engine, so that is what we'll be doing with this version of the deck. Big thanks to my buddy Nick for letting me borrow his deck for the deck profile, and with its new setup, including their new LZ Azamina monster, along with some of the other Azamina monsters mixed in with the Bellstar engine, all fitting in very well with the lore to the White Forest cards and all the different spells we can use for this synchro setup of a deck. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So we'll go ahead and start off with the main deck monsters. For the White Forest monsters, we're running 3 copies of LZ of the White Forest. Well, you can send one card from your one spell or trap from your hand or field to the graveyard to special summon this card from your hand, then add one White Forest monster from your deck to your hand, except for LZ of the White Forest. During your opponent's turn, if a light spellcaster type monster tuner is special summoned to your field while this card is in your graveyard, you can add this card to your hand. You want to use this effect of LZ of the White Forest once per turn. So while being your setup for a good amount of your plays, it also provides more of an added resource grab for you to special summon this card from your hand and give you a search for another White Forest monster from the deck to your hand, which, like I said, we have the new version of LZ to also run in the deck in tandem with this monster being LZ Azamina of the White Forest, but a definite 3 of for this card. It works very well for the light tuners that we run in the deck, which one of them being our go-to Sylvie of the White Forest. With this card, if it's normal or special summon, you can add one White Forest power trap from your deck to your hand. If this card is in your graveyard, quick effect, you can target one White Forest synchro monster you control in your graveyard, return it to the extra deck, and special summon this card, but negate its effects. You want to use this effect of Sylvie once per turn, but once again, just a recycle option since we also only run 1-ofs for all of our different White Forest monsters. So being able to have a recyclable tuner in this form to also recycle back our White Forest synchro monsters to be able to use their effects over and over again, getting the additional setup because they get different card effects when they are synchro summoned as well. And for the lower numbers for our White Forest monsters, 2 copies of the new LZ Azamina of the White Forest. You can reveal this card in your hand, special summon one White Forest or Azamina monster from your hand. During your main phase, you can fusion summon one Azamina fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field. If this card is sent to the graveyard as synchro material, you can add one Sinful Spoils card from your deck to your hand. You can use each effect of LZ Azamina of the White Forest once per turn, but as I said, this is the corrupted form of the LZ monster that we had before, being able to make use of the added Azamina monsters, but also add in some of our new cards like the Sinful Spoils of the White Forest containing the Sinful Spoils in its name to be able to search with this card. And then also 1 copy of Esteller of the White Forest and 1 Rusia of the White Forest. Just 1-ofs for this tuner and other setup monster being able to send a power trap with Esteller as well. To special summon 1 light spellcaster tuner from your deck. If spell and trap is sent to your graveyard to activate a monster effect while this card's in your graveyard, you can special summon this card. So it's searchable with some of the other cards in the deck, and the same with the specific setup with Rusia. So just 1-ofs, I feel, for each one of these monsters in the deck. But once again, going off of the Bellstar engine that we run, we're running 3 copies of Bellstar the Black Witch. You can special summon this card from your hand by sending 1 card from your hand or field to the graveyard. You can only special summon Bellstar the Black Witch once per turn this way. You can only use each of the following effects of Bellstar once per turn. If it's normal or special summon, you can set 1 Sinful Spoil spell or trap directly from your deck, giving you access to those different Sinful Spoil spells that we run in the deck again once with this card. And if this card is sent from the owner's hand to the field or graveyard, you can send 1 card from your hand or field to the graveyard to special summon this card, grabbing you this resource back onto the field as well, being a level 7 monster. A little more difficult to adjust with some of the synchros we may want to go for with this card since our tuners are level 4 monsters, but still just a good engine to run overall with the wanted poster that we also run in the deck also. And then the 1 copy of Queen Azamina to work with the new LZ monster, Azamina monster as well. It's always treated as a Sinful Spoils card as well, which is useful for that additional setup. And then the 1 copy of Toy Soldier and the 1 copy of Toy Tank for the small toy engine that we're using to make use of with the spell setup and lineup that we run, along with Toy Box in the deck also. And then for more banish power with our Azumina Queen, just a small Bysteel engine as well, in the form of the 2 Druisworm and the 1 Magnemite for the added cards to use for banishing and getting us other level 6 monsters to use with our level 4 tuners to help to get even bigger synchro monsters from the extra deck also, with the last of the main deck monsters just being 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, a small hand trap lineup to use with our other monsters in the deck as well. For the White Forest spells, we run a one-of lineup just because they can be searched with a good majority of the cards in the deck. So 1 copy of Tales of the White Forest. If you control an illusion or spellcaster monster, you can add 1 White Forest monster from your deck to your hand. So once again, with this card being able to be searched out and then search itself, the 1 Scourge of the White Forest, the being an added resource for attributing a synchro monster to target face-up card on the field, negates effects till the end of this turn. If you attributed a White Forest synchro monster to activate the effect, you can special summon 1 illusion monster from your graveyard. So negating an effect while also grabbing you a resource back. 1 Susurrus of the Sinful Spoils, along with 1 Hallowed Azumina for the added Azumina Fusion Summon play for our Sinful Spoils setup. And then the new Sinful Spoils of the White Forest as well for the set effect. If you control a Fiend, Illusion, or Spellcaster monster, activate 1 of these effects to special summon a Fiend, Illusion, or Spellcaster monster from your hand, or Fusion Summon 1 from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field, giving us access to cards like our new Saint Azumina, needing the 2 level 6 or higher monsters, 1 Fusion and 1 Synchro, to make this card, so we can use our different Azumina monsters and our Synchro monsters to make it. And also for the added Sinful Spoil lineup, the 3 Wanted poster and the 1 copy of the Deception of the Sinful Spoils to help set up more of our resources, and also giving us the Azumina access with Deception as well as another card that can be set on the field with Dia Bellstar, and the 2 ofs for our 2 triple tactics talent for added response to our opponent's monster effects they may try to use on our own turn, with the last of these spells being the 1 Toy Box and the 1 Branded Regain, both to work with the Toy Box engine and the Bysteel monsters we run in the deck also. For the traps, we're in 1 copy of Woes of the White Forest and the 1 copy of Manadium Refraining, just as an answer for our synchros to give us access to a counter trap that can stop a spell trap or monster effect while we control a synchro monster, and Woes of the White Forest to special summon a White Forest monster from our hand or deck, then immediately after perform a synchro summon, so then we have another response with our Azumina synchro monsters on our opponent's turn. And then the 3 copies of Infinite Permanence just to run along with the Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring in the deck as a hand trap to respond against our opponent with. For the extra deck, we're running 1 copy of each of the White Forest monsters for the fact that these cards can be recycled back into the extra deck. They take main focus on being able to be summoned out and used for the synchro plays when they're played, as well being able to target a spell trap in your graveyard, add back to your hand with Dia Bell, and then the add of a White Forest card or light spellcaster from your deck with our Rusia, and then the Silvera being able to special summon, change all face-up monster your opponent controls to face-down defense. So if we can respond on our opponent's turn, it almost becomes just like a Book of Eclipse play to use against them. With our other synchro monsters being the 1 Visus Armatara, the 1 Shenyang, along with the 1 Chaos Angel, and the 1 Bysteel Dispatter, just as some of the bigger synchros, because we do have a level 4 tuner to make use of with all the other cards. And the ones that we'll be using with these will always be the Toy Box engine and the Bysteel monsters, while sticking to the White Forest cards when we actually use the White Forest monsters for the synchro plays. For the fusion monsters, the 1 copy of Saint Azumina, along with the 1 copy of Azumina Ilia Sylvia, and the 1 Moa Regina, and the 1 Rusialago, who are all of the engine to use with our fusion plays for the White Forest deck, along with the Azumina setup. The 1 copy of Sky Crisis, along with the 1 copy of Baguska for the Xyz monsters, with our only Link monsters being the 1 copy of SP Little Knight and the 1 Haggard Lizardos as another banish option to respond with our Azumina Queen in the main deck. And then as for some of the go-to plays in the deck, as I mentioned, the new monster being able to reveal our new LZ in our hand, especially from the White Forest Azumina monster from our hand, just grabs us access to some other cards in the deck, so then we can summon out our tuner, ideally, or the Azumina monster, as mentioned before, which could potentially be our Queen Azumina, if we also have this card in our hand, to respond with against our opponent, depending on the play we want to go for. But the better play, I would say, is obviously having our level level 4 tuner, because then we have our 2 monsters to be able to use, and then we can either fusion summon or use the tuner play. So in this form, we have the level 6 synchro, or the needed as Amina fusion, needing an illusion monster, and then the light spellcaster. So then we can go into Ilya Sylvia using these 2 monsters. So with this, you have access to 2 different plays to use with these 2 monsters on the field, and then the added recycle power of our synchro monster, returning to the X deck to special summon Sylvie back onto the field again to reuse those same synchro plays. Because when we summon out our Silvera onto the field, it gives you the monster flip effect of our opponent's cards also. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed. Once again, big thanks to my buddy Nick for letting me borrow his White Forest deck for the video. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira, Twig out.